there was a time I woke up and I rolled over and I opened my eyes and there was a woman standing next to my bed. I just kind of like eventually rolled away, closed my eyes, and looked back, and she was gone.
There are fun compilations online called Damien is a Psychic. They are fun to watch. I'm not a psychic. I think if anyone tells you they're a psychic, they're full of crap.
You know, there's been a lot of coincidence in my life and little moments here and there that I like were very important moments, and maybe I don't have a direct explanation, but I'll take it as it is.
Sara!
Sara Wario.
100%.
Sara Wario!
Sara Weedle. Sara Wario.
Sara Wario!
Sara Wario.
That's great. Oh my god. This is my body, this is my blood, one of you will betray me, and that's the fucking tea.
That's great.
Judas is like, Jesus tea.
The story of Christmas.
Yeah, and anyways, so Damien and I then wrestled the crocodile down, and, we ended up becoming friends. We talked it out after that.
I believe it.
Hey! Wow, guys, welcome to the SmoshCast. It's a very, very fun episode. I'm your host for today, Shayne Top, and with me are Damien Haas and Sarah Whittle.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Two of really my best friends. Like, honestly.
Me a little more. I'm more best friend.
I'm going in for the high five. I'm giving this as a charity. Take the high five.
I'm not taking a charity high five.
Damien went for niceness, and you immediately were mean.
I'm competitive.
Interesting that. What good friend material.
All right, before we get into this, I want to give some shout-outs to the sponsors who help make this podcast happen. Airbnb Animal Experiences, USA Opoly, and Upstart. Thank you guys so much. They are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. We got to go do a little dog walk the other day, which was really awesome. A dog hike.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Runyon
so
Canyon,
fun.
and we had 15 rescue pups.
Little the
Foster
puppies
baby
were foster babies, and we took them up the hill, and it was so cute.
It was great. Adorable. I needed it because I can't have a pet right now, and I want one so bad. So to just get to hang out with a bunch of dogs was so awesome.
You can borrow my cats for the week and a half I'm in Japan. I would do that for you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Honestly, maybe. I don't know. I'll think about that.
You can't just borrow cats.
You can. I can leave them at his
sometimes
house.
just borrow cats. You never just borrow cats?
He doesn't have much fabric stuff in his home, so there's not much they could ruin.
Oh, they will find something to ruin.
They've started picking under Mark's door, too, and tearing up the carpet there, which means I want to die, because that was the biggest issue with our last apartment.
Just let them conquer every part of the house.
That's what we do.
They're doing that for you.
It's a losing fight.
Yeah. They are serving you. They are your soldiers. Let them slowly take over everything.
Can't they just annex the apartment next to me? I would prefer that.
Oh my God. So because it's Halloween time, it's October, I kind of wanted to talk about spooky stuff.
And my cool outfit?
Yeah, for those of you
let's talk about that.
For those of you listening, Sarah came in dressed like a Fortnite skin. She's wearing a unicorn onesie.
Yeah, because Finnerdew told me it was a Halloween-themed episode, and he said everyone was going to dress up, and then I showed up, and I looked like a real...
Did he actually?
Except
No.
Sarah, you dress like
sucks.
this every day.
I know. Yeah. This is just what I wanted to wear today.
I can't stress enough how much Sarah dresses like a complete psychopath every day. And I dress crazy, but Sarah dresses like, I don't know.
Listen, I don't have hobbies. So this is all I have. I don't have time for hobbies. So bright makeup and bright clothes are all I have.
You're very good at, putting together fashionable outfits, though. The thing that always surprises me is, if you're wearing a specific pair of boots and it is glittered and bedazzled or whatever, I look at your outfit and I think, this is the only possible outfit in existence where these boots can work. Do you buy a pair of shoes per outfit? That's my question, because it's so specific.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people, when they're putting an outfit together, they might have one star piece, like the shoes or a shirt or the onesie. I say, why not have multiple star pieces and put it all together? And even if it doesn't make sense, it then makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You end up looking like a middle school notebook. But
you know what? Hashtag goals.
Hashtag Lisa Frank. Hashtag steal more of your memes.
I always go to Claudio and I'm like, how does this look? And he's like, insane, but you can do it.
God.
Delightful.
Yeah.
I'm a fashionista.
Yeah, Lisa Frank steals from you. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. It's
Fact,
crazy.
actually.
Yeah, actually.
Lisa Frank actually did steal from me.
Straight up screenshotted a meme that she made and was just like, this is a Lisa Frank meme now. I annexed it.
I mean, it was based off of her products, but still. It was their most high engaged piece of content on their Instagram for a
Interesting,
while.
man. Almost like you're very talented at what you do.
Almost
Interesting,
like
man.
I am owed a consultant fee.
Yeah.
Oh man, this just became the T-cast.
T, what are you talking about? We make coffee.
Oh my
segue!
god.
I'm so good at that.
All right, speaking of, guys, we got
Cheers.
Cheers.
Clank.
Damn.
Facing this way.
Guys, we got a bunch of awesome merch at Smosh.store, and we have the My Favorite Coffee at myfavoritecoffee.com. It is Ian's passion project. He worked on it for months. Check it out. It's very, very good.
Also, fun fact. So if you live not in the U.S., shipping the cold brew is quite expensive because I think it comes out to like 6 or 7
That's
pounds
not
of
fun
liquid.
at all.
But if you
Okay.
get the beans or the ground beans, it ships for a lot less money,
Hells yeah.
and you actually are probably getting more cups of coffee with that.
Smart.
Smart. Very smart.
Nice.
The more you know.
Very, very nice. And look, this isn't advertised on the coffee, but I once saw Ian drink some of the cold brew and then he ran a 40 in 5 seconds. Oh. And, I can't say that they're correlated. I can't say it's because of the coffee, but I'm just saying that it happened immediately after he drank the coffee. So,
Interesting.
look, if you're looking to win the Olympics.
I thought it was because I walked up to him and said, let's have an emotional heart-to-heart.
And he bolted. Oh my god.
The Roast Ian podcast now that he's not hosting
Yeah,
it.
now that he's not here. Ian is currently excavating a new section of Machu Picchu.
He had one full cold brew
Why
and he's
not
ready
here
to
right
go.
now. Yeah, none of us are exactly sure where Ian is. He disappeared this week.
Into
and,
the woods.
Yeah, he texted us and said, I'll be back. And we're like, cool, man.
He pulled a book on a bookshelf and all of a sudden it twisted around and we're like, we didn't even know the mythical office could do that. And he's somewhere in a lair.
He found a hidden pirate ship underneath our building.
It's the Goonies now.
Just Goonies.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. All right.
Anyways,
That
rest
would
in
be
peace.
scary.
Yeah, that would be spooky. Speaking of scary, thanks, Damien.
Got it.
Just keep segueing our way around. Oh my god.
This is how the natural flow of conversation happens.
Thanks, Damien, for hosting
Shane's
the
getting
podcast.
demoted.
Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, I wanted to talk about spooky stuff. I want to talk about like ghosts and scary movies and crap.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's October. As some of you might know, I watch a lot of scary movies by myself in the
You're
dark.
a psycho.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, and it does ruin my life a little bit. I did
Nice.
the other day with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is Ryan's like favorite movie ever. It was really rough for a movie made in the 70s. That movie gets awful.
Really? Jinx.
Yeah, just like it's a good movie. It's just like awful. Like it's tormenting you for the last half hour.
I don't like spoopy movies. I really don't fare well.
Is it
What was
all
what was
spooky
the last
movies,
scary
or-
movie you saw?
Well, we all went to Us together, but that wasn't like
That was like a
actually
thriller.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
Once the house gets off the ground with the balloons, it's not that bad.
Stop! Stop! You're drunk.
I'm so sorry.
Damien has just been nuts this morning.
You guys asked for Dark Damien, and then when he's here, you can't handle it.
That was like
That
hi,
was just
Damien.
funny.
That was just like
It's like I don't know what's up.
the one before was the first It. Because everyone
yeah, that
was
movie's
saying
awesome.
everyone was saying how cool it was,
Yeah.
and it was good, but I had a miserable time.
Oh,
Really?
I love that movie
That
so
movie's
much.
really scary
It's a
because
comedy.
It really is kind of half
Kinda
comedy.
is.
it's real. No, this is why it's so scary. Is that like the scary moment happens, and usually it's like in typical movies you have a jump scare, and then it like settles down after that jump scare. It like. The scary thing keeps going.
Oh, yeah, it
like
keeps
that
chasing you.
kid keeps going towards the lens, and that's like,
Yeah, it's really true.
So are you scared of like all scary movies, or is it
Well,
like...
I used to watch a lot more scary movies when I was in high school and just had no fear of anything. So I would watch like most of the Saw movies and like Strangers and, House on Haunted Hill I saw pretty young.
I remember that. That one messed me up when I was young.
That one messed me up. The Ring messed me up.
Same.
Ring has the one shot.
The Hills Have Eyes did not mess me up because I'm like, I'm never going to be in New Mexico or wherever.
You don't know that.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I drove through New Mexico. No. It's a scary state.
There's parts of New Mexico that are beautiful.
I drove across the country to come out here from Georgia to California, and let me tell you, when you hit like Texas, there's just nothing until you get to New Mexico, and then the rock formations are beautiful.
I did not have that experience.
I was thankful.
Northern New Mexico has a bunch of antelope and just like rolling hills. It's really gorgeous.
Good for you guys.
Good for New Mexico, honestly.
Good for New Mexico.
I drove from Phoenix to Colorado and had to go through New Mexico. Thought I was going to stop in New Mexico, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to keep driving.
Wow.
So I used to watch a lot of scary movies. I think it's such a stressful experience for me because I'm when I watch a movie, I'm like fully in it. And I just want to avoid all things in my life that cause extra stress.
Oh, no.
So I like to watch things like The Masked Singer. And
that's scary to me.
And I had to stop off of real crime podcasts because they were spooking me too much. So
I have a hard time with true crime podcasts. Not true crime movies don't scare me too much because I just see it as kind of like a drama, and I'm like, oh, this is scary.
Oh, yeah.
But when it's a podcast or when it's like an actual documentary about it, then that gets really scary because I'm like, oh, this happened, and that's awful.
Yeah, and for a while I was listening to like Ted Bundy and like one about the Black Dahlia killer, and it was a lot of violence against women, and I was like, I think it's time to just like listen to Podcast Outside and SmoshCast right now. Like, it was I had to do a palate cleanse.
That's like the only kind of stuff to me that actually is scary because it's real. Like, I think a lot of the scary stuff that we think about can't really hold a candle to how terrible human beings can be, and that stuff like really happens. Like, sometimes if I'm watching a movie and it's just like there's a monster in the lake, I don't care how good the shots are. I can appreciate the movie, but I'm never like, oh man, what if there is a monster in the lake? It's like there's not.
I think what's weird is that I don't know if I necessarily believe in ghosts or anything like that, but movies about ghosts and demons and stuff scare me so much.
Really?
Because it's such a like twist of reality that I'm like, if something like that did happen, it's something that my brain is not ready for at all.
That's why The Ring like freaked me out.
The Ring is freaky.
The Ring was like, it was kind of like the first kind of horror film that I remember that really like talked about like technology. And it was like, if you watched this thing, which in theory you could watch anywhere, and then this like spooky girl's coming for you, it was like, it was very scary.
That brings up a good point. It's kind of like the creepypasta of nowadays, like the spooky memes that people share.
Do you
it's
not
just
know
like
about creepypasta?
I don't know about creepypasta.
Oh, it would ruin your life.
It's this term called copypasta where people would. It was sort of like an early version of like memes. It's like what you copy paste a reply in a forum, and everybody knows that you've seen that meme before. So creepypasta is like these urban legend kind of situations that people post in forums or just online on like WordPress or whatever, and they get sort of shared around like modern day urban legends. But I think so many of them, the thing that makes them scary, and it's interesting that you brought that up, is the one thing that touches on your everyday reality, whether it's the VHS tape there or it's like modern day ones might be like, did you get the text? If you all stand in a circle and 8 people text this, one of you will get a text back, and that text back is from the blah 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 murderer. And it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they have that new movie called The Countdown where you like download an app that tells you when you're gonna die, and it's real.
Ooh.
Oh no, I only got 20 minutes left. Oh, but promise tomorrow. And now it's time for a spooky break. Guys, Matchorama is the best new party game out on the market. It is super fun. I've heard a lot about it because Ian played it recently and he won't stop talking about it. And if Ian's excited about something, you know it has to be good. The whole game is based on how you think your friends think. So you want to get categories and match them to your friends. Guessing who you'll match is fun, especially if you think you know someone, but then you don't. Ian. For instance, Ian was telling me when he played, there was a lot of fun in people trying to guess what his favorite secret band was, which I guess happens to be NSYNC. And matching categories in this game often leads to fun conversations, like why Ian wouldn't tell me that his favorite secret band is NSYNC. Why is that a secret? And what's really great about this is that it's good for all ages. You could play it with kids, or if you want to play it with your friends and you're all a little bit older, that's totally fine too. And because this game is so awesome, it's probably selling out fast, and you can get it exclusively at Target or Target.com, so get it while you can. Again, that is Matchorama, and you can get it at Target or Target.com.
But but how do you guys feel? Do you guys actually believe in real ghosts or no?
I feel like spirits of some kind can exist, right? Like, my dad put it a good way when we were driving out from Georgia to California, because, that's when you have the deep talks, but I was just like, how do you feel about, such and such? And he said, everything is magic until you prove how it works. So if you think about electromagnetism, if you talked about that 200, 300 years ago, you'd be burned at the stake. But now it's like, oh yeah, there are invisible waves coming off of all these different things. That's electromagnetism. So is there some form of energy from a human life that can linger around in some way? Maybe it has to do with time or, what have you. I believe that can happen, but when it's like, this ghost is angry that you're in its house and it's going to knock over that bottle, I'm like, okay, no.
I think my issue is, I think if I were to lay out what I believe, it's that I believe everything is possible, but I don't adamantly believe in anything specifically, right? And what often happens is a crazy thing will happen, right? And in a second, I'll tell you, like, I've talked about it before, but I'll tell you, like, I had a string of weird instances that happened, like, a few years ago. But something will happen, like, right? Like, you'll hear, like, a person talking in a house or something, or, like, you'll hear noises in a house, and people will be like, oh my God, that's the ghost of this person, and he's upset about this. And I'm like, you're jumping to all these conclusions, right? Like, it's always, oh, that's for sure a ghost. I'm like, no, that's a noise, and you don't know what it's coming from. That could be a million things, right? And like reading up about schizophrenia, which is probably one of my greatest fears, developing schizophrenia terrifies me, because I was reading a thing where a guy was talking about like, how it started off for me is in the corner of of rooms, there would be a person standing there with no face, and they'd just be standing there. Whoa. And I'm just like, well, if that's awful, like that's a ghost story for like, but I'm like, because in instances where things have happened in my past, I'm like, could that have been a ghost? Yes. Could that also be, using the term, is my mind playing tricks on me, is sounding like you're making this up, whatever. It's like, no, everything that you see is not what's actually in front of you. It's your brain's perception of it. Yep. This is a reimagining, a recreation of what's in front of you by your brain. If it gets something wrong, you will see, hear, feel everything, a thing that's not there. It's very possible. So I guess that's my mindset. But with saying that, I believe it's possible that all sorts of crazy stuff is out there.
It's
like
possible.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Is like I just say like, oh, I believe in ghosts, but like I've just had a couple of experiences, and also it just like the thought creeps me out. But I'm never gonna go campaign that ghosts really exist. Like, because in actuality, it doesn't affect my everyday life. If I lived in a house that I thought was haunted, you bet your sweet ass I'm moving out tomorrow. But that's how I feel. Is like it could be ghosts. And I used to like love watching those reality shows of like ghost hunters and stuff, like Ghost Hunters International, which I was confused about because I'm like, the ghost doesn't speak English, so how is he?
Well, now you're getting into very specific ghost logic. My sister and I always talked about when we were like teenagers, if our planned careers failed, we would just become paranormal investigators together.
Love that.
But also, I don't really believe it's a thing. So I guess it's going to be the Scully and
But that's the
Mulder.
type of person. That's a person who should be a paranormal investigator. Someone who doesn't necessarily believe in it.
Sure.
Because if you believe in it, you'll see all the connections and be like, oh yeah, it's for sure a ghost.
Well, it also doesn't make for good entertainment when you're a paranormal investigator, and then you're like, but no, I think it's just like, it's probably just a rat.
You just walk into a house, that's bullcrap. No, not true.
Yet another instance of wind. Join us next week.
Wind strikes again. Wind investigators.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty sick.
It's that movie Tornado.
Tell us your ghost stories.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, nerd. Tell us your stories.
Yeah, this happened when I was about like 18, 19, and I was living alone here in LA. This is like shortly after my mom moved back home. So I was just finally doing my own thing out here. And I lived in this apartment that had a 1-bedroom with a loft. So it was a big, tall apartment, spiral staircase that went up to this loft. And I think it was a generally new apartment complex, like nothing weird. It's not like I moved in and they're like, oh yeah, welcome to this apartment. Someone died here. Just like nothing like that. So, and I had been there for a couple of years. Everything had been fine. And then over the course of like, literally it was like a month or two, a bunch of weird stuff happened then. And then it was done. So I'll do it gradually of like least creepy to creepy, right? So one day I was working at my computer and I'm sitting there typing and I have a sliding glass door. This is up in the loft, sliding glass door next to me. And I'm typing and all of a sudden right on the window right next to me, just bam. And like something smashes right up against right where like my face is. And I look over and there's a bird lying on the ground. Pretty big sized bird. It had flown straight into the window, which I know this is not necessarily.
Seems normal.
This is rather normal. This is, like I said, I'm starting with
Birds
the.
are
I'm not hooked,
stupid.
Shayne.
The bird's laying on the ground. I thought it's dead. All of a sudden, after a second, it gets up and it just looks at me. And it stays there for like a minute just looking at me and
he's
not
like,
moving.
"Nevermore!"
And then it just flies away.
Lenore.
And I was like, okay, that was weird. That was just weird, like a bird.
Okay.
And it wasn't, there's no way the bird thought that this was more space, right? Like it flew right into this building. But
It wanted to fight you, obviously.
yeah, I think I pissed off birds. There was another time where I was out on my patio and standing out there and I see a hummingbird like a ways off. And then all of a sudden it stops and it flies from very far away all the way up, and I'm not kidding, a couple inches from my face, and it stops right in front of me. And I'm literally like looking into the eyes of this hummingbird, and I'm kind of like stepping back. It keeps kind of following me, and then it does a perfect, like, flies perfectly around my head, back to the front of my face, and then flies off. And I'm once again, like I said,
Are you a bird whisperer?
I just think like that's very possible.
I mean,
that it's just
we
like,
all believe in birds, Shayne. You don't have to convince us of
You're
anything.
not gonna believe these birds.
I know that very well.
It was just weird. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's just weird.
Sure.
Right? That's in the same month. I've never had instances where with animals like that other than that month. Then one night I open up my sliding glass door. It's like 10 or 11 p.m. and I'm at the top of this building, right? Nothing above me. I open my sliding glass door and like it's right next to my ear, a coin flips. It sounds like someone literally flips a coin right next to my ear, and right in front of me, a dime falls. And it lands at my feet. And I look down, and I see this dime, and I look up, I look around, there is nothing, no one. And I just slowly close the sliding glass door and go back inside, because I'm like, I don't know what that was. It just saying my experience, it sounded like someone reached out their hand right next to my ear and flipped a coin. And like I said, it fell, I saw it fall from the sky and land on right at my feet.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that's weird. And then the instance that literally ruined me for a couple months. I didn't tell anybody about this for months because it was so scary.
So this bird.
Right? So all the birds. So I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching TV in the downstairs area. All the lights are on in my house. Watching TV. Once again, it's late at night. All the windows are closed. The freeway is right next to my house, and it really muffles the sound of it. So I had experienced people yelling outside. I've experienced all sorts of noises, and it's very muffled. And I'm watching TV, and then suddenly it started loud, but it went on for it felt like 5 to 10 seconds of just a grown man yelling so loud and angrily. And I'm talking, I'll step away. It was like this. It started off almost like a ooh, like I thought someone was peering into my window and like messing with me, being like ooh, like, and it starts and it goes like ooh, and it just went for so long enough for me to stand up from my couch, look at every window in my apartment as this yell is muffling my TV, which is not, the sound is not coming from.
Wow.
I'm looking at my window, which it's a 16-foot space from my window down to the patio of the apartment below me. I'm looking everywhere, nothing, and then it just stops. And I mean, it was so loud. It was so loud that I'm like, someone's in my apartment yelling. And at first I was like, oh, a friend of mine is messing with me or something. And then by the end I was like, that was the worst experience of my life. And I sat down at my couch and I sat there for 2 hours just like not sure what to do. Because I was like, was that coming from the loft? Was that, I couldn't tell where it came from. And eventually I like went up to my loft and like kind of like slowly looked around everywhere and there was nothing. And I have no explanation for it. But it scared the living garbage out of me so much that for months I was just kind of like weirded out in that apartment.
Do you think it would have affected you the same way if you hadn't had those instances that you spoke about?
I don't think those had an effect on it. Like I think
because you were maybe already a little on edge about like that was weird. Or?
No, I don't think so, honestly, because those other ones were kind of every time they happened, I just chalked them up to being like, oh, it's just weird. The only reason I mention them now is because it all happened in an instance. But back then, I don't think that happened, and I was like, oh, but the bird stuff. It's just more that I'm like something like I don't know what was up.
That's
you know,
weird.
but it was just trippy. It was just really, really trippy. And I've had stuff happen that I more immediately chalk up to like, I'm like, okay, that was clearly my brain, right? Like in that same apartment, there was a time I woke up and I rolled over and I opened my eyes and there was a woman standing next to my bed and a woman staring at me and I just kind of like eventually rolled away, closed my eyes, and looked back, and she was gone. And I'm like, I think that's me waking up in the morning.
Like a night terror situation.
And my brain still is, like, it was less, I wasn't scared. Like, I was just like that. But the scream, it was like, I was like, I don't know. I just don't know.
Interesting.
And that's all I can chalk it up to. But, you know, do I think the brain is capable of making that sound internally? Yeah. Do I think I'm actively searching for answers on that one? I don't know. So I chalk it up to, I literally don't know.
The only thing I can think of is like, if you've ever been to a science museum and they have that thing where like, there's this, it's kind of like a concave metal thing all the way on one side of the room. And then they have another one all the way on the other side of the room. And you can stand next to it and be like, hey, how's it going? And it sounds like somebody is right next to it.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, odds are you will find yourself in a situation where that just happens to be the setup you're in without realizing it.
Yeah.
So I think at the very least for the coin flip sound too, because I remember your apartment, and when you're in a high up area of a building, like a 2-story apartment building, and there's lots of balconies everywhere, sound bounces in interesting ways when there's nothing to stop it other than the like patio doors behind you and stuff like that. I could definitely see someone on a different balcony flipping a coin, seeing how high they could do it. It's sounding like it's right next to you, and then it landing in front of you. Heavy coincidence for sure, but otherwise, I don't know. Yeah.
It's definitely weird.
Super weird.
And let's take a break from the madness. Guys, Airbnb animal experiences are so awesome, and they give people opportunities to hang out and have a great time with certain animals. For instance, you can go hiking with a llama, learn to communicate with a horse named Ibiza, and for us, we got to go hiking with a bunch of rescue dogs. I myself walked this sweet, sweet pit bull boxer mix named Valerie. We hiked for a couple hours, and it was honestly a great time. Every animal experience follows guidelines developed in partnership with World Animal Protection, so you get to know you're doing this in a very ethical way, that the animals are safe, they're being taken care of. These experiences take place in the wild, on the farm, or wherever natural setting these animals are used to. You really get to see things from their perspective. So if you love animals and this sounds interesting to you, go check out airbnb.com/animals for more information. I'm sure there's a ton of possible experiences in your area. Once again, that is airbnb.com/animals. You know, a lot of people I think would immediately be like, that was a ghost. There was a ghost in there. And I'm like, I have no proof of anything other than I heard a grown man yell for a while.
That was just
at me, it sounded like.
I've got one I'm comfortable sharing.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad got in a really bad accident when I was younger, like 11 or 12, I think. And so he was like in a physical rehab facility. And so one of those days, he was like off doing a group thing or like a physical exercise. I'm not sure what, but when he gets back, the receptionist says like, hey, your mom called. And he was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, I don't think so, because my grandma had passed at that time. Mm-hmm. And the lady was like, yeah. It was like, I mean, it was real staticky, but I mean, I heard it was an older lady on the other end, German accent, and like, that's my grandma for sure. And so he was like, she passed away like a year ago around this time. And so that receptionist quit. But but like the fact that she was like, yeah, European accent, you know, staticky, it was just like, oh, that's interesting. And the only thing is just like, you know, she just said, tell him his mother called or something, which is,
stop.
You know, but again, that's secondhand, and I don't know. And if it was staticky, maybe she misheard something. I don't know, but that's just something that's in the family. Like, all right, you know. So that's sort of what I mean about like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if there's necessarily like, there's a ghost haunting the doorway because it died in the doorway. But you know.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of community theater, and so in my town in Wyoming,
no, I'm kidding. I did that all the time.
That's the scary part.
That's all I did.
In my town in Wyoming, we would do plays in this like super old theater, and the super old theater was, of course, haunted. Mm-hmm. And it used to be like a candy store, and it used to be like a brothel, and it used to be a lot of different things. And so the first floor of the theater was the theater, and then it had a staircase going up, and it had a second and third floor that wasn't renovated yet. So it was like real haunted looking. And so me and a group of friends, and the group of friends were like very into ghost stuff, like paranormal stuff, Ouija boards, like all that. So of course, like, you know, 15, 16-year-old Sarah was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And so they were like, hey, we're going to go like talk to ghosts tonight at the theater. And I was like, cool, I'm down. So never I would now. So we went up, and there was probably like 5 or 6 of us, and we sat at a table, and I guess, you know, one way that you can do like a budget Ouija board is you just get like a glass cup and you turn it upside down. So the opening's like on the table. And then you have people put their fingers on it, and you can talk to the spirits that way. And you can almost like designate a person to be yes or no. So you can ask like yes or no questions, and the cups will go to those people. So, but this particular night, they had asked the spirits to just make the cup go in a circle on the table. And so everyone like put their fingers on the bottom of the cup that was facing up, and the cup was like going in circles around the table in little circles. So there's 5 or 6 of us, just one finger, the index finger on the cup.
Yeah.
The cup was going so fast that people's fingers were falling off of it. It was rotating so quickly across the table that people couldn't keep their fingers on it. And at the same time, while it was going in a circle, the cup itself was rotating as well.
Whoa.
And so people's fingers can't do that. Like, if you have your finger on a cup, you can't make it like go across in a circle on the table while also rotating. So that was super freaky to me.
Did it ever at any point, but someone's finger was always on it?
I mean, yeah, everyone was like trying to keep their finger on it, but it was going extremely fast, and it was also rotating.
Was there any person, and this is obviously a way back memory, but did everybody's finger fall off at least once, or were there a couple people who were standard on there the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know.
But either way, that's freaky.
It didn't freak me out, like, how fast it was going, because I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe someone just has a really sticky finger and can just go in circles fast. It was the rotating bit that was, like, because, like, even if that person, let's say a person was making that cup go in a circle, for them to also rotate it at the same time is, like, impossible. Nearly impossible. Or maybe we just had, like, a magician on our hands. But
yes, another secret magician strikes again.
Uh-oh, secret magicians, they're out there.
I've been found.
Super big setup for that one lame trick. So
well, that's interesting.
That was interesting, and we also did, like, a couple of yes and no's, and, you know, like, they'd be, it was like we were shooting, like, this little, like, short film or whatever.
Do you still have the footage?
No. I want to say it's burned forever. No. So this girl was like the lead girl, and I was playing the best friend. And then she was also dating like the lead guy who I also previously had dated.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so it was
Ghost
a little
noise.
awkward. And so of course I felt like self-conscious during the every time we'd all hang out. And the ghosts, they asked the ghosts to determine a person to be yes and a person to be no. She was yes and I was no. And I was like, oh, the ghosts see my insecurity.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
So, I'm not going to go debate that ghosts exist with that story, but it was just a little odd.
Right.
Can I pitch a video now since you just gave me a great idea? I want us to do a ghost makeover because that ghost like saw your insecurities and was just like, oh, honey, I know exactly what you need.
Paranormal eye.
Paranormal eye. So I really want like us to sit down on the Ouija board and be like, what kind of fashion choice? They're just like, oh, don't even worry about it. I know exactly what you need. You need to Bergdorf Goodman's. Wow, I've never even. Do we even have one of those around here? Saks Fifth Avenue. That's quite expensive, ghost. Do you have anything in my budget? Like,
This is a Beverly Hills ghost right here.
sweetheart, we're taking you to Rodeo. I'm like, oh, I know.
I'm going to make for a really good ghosts. If ghosts are real, I'm going to be an insane ghost.
Hell yeah.
Like, I that's my
I'm gonna
issue.
be a nice
in some ways,
ghost.
I feel like there'd be more comedic ghosts out there, like ghosts that are just messing with us.
Maybe
but
they're all funny.
Maybe they all are just trying to mess with us. Because I don't hear about people getting killed by ghosts.
I mean,
Because they become
guess you
ghosts
would know,
themselves,
like, if
and
like
the
then you
ghost-
don't rat out
Amityville
your own
Horror
game.
and debate like really happened and was like a ghost like haunting.
Did people died
Yeah,
from the
like
ghost?
a family died.
Oh, snap. Like they know for sure a ghost killed them.
Well, the guy might have had like, I don't know, but like mental disabilities.
The
or
guy killed-
schizophrenia or something.
The
I don't know
dad
anything
killed
about
them
the
all?
story.
Yeah, the dad killed, and then
He like heard voices and like killed his family, and then everyone that like moved into the house, or is that just Ryan Reynolds, moved into the house would also kill their family?
yeah,
He was in a movie, Amityville Horror.
Chalking it up to gas leak. Next question.
Oh, man.
I like to be like politely skeptical. Like nobody likes the person that's just like,
Oh, yeah.
no, it's not real. But at the same time, if you offer a thing where like maybe it was this, some people get really mad where they're like, can't you just let a thing be a thing? And you're like, well, let's meet in the middle. Let's discuss.
I think I instinctively have an issue whenever someone is like, this is 100% the reality.
Yeah.
This is 100% the case.
Yeah.
I have that issue with anything.
I agree.
Well, memory is not a foolproof thing.
Right.
So,
True.
I think it's healthy to debate it. However, read your audience. Maybe they don't want to hear the other side.
Yeah, but then it's like, that's not fair because that's not a conversation. If someone's just like, this thing happened and you are required to not offend them and be like, okay, wow, that's crazy, that's neat. Like, that's not fun.
I guess the reality is I've met people like that
Yeah.
who are just like, I'm right always. And it's just like, all right, we don't have to talk anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
We don't have to be
Exactly.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
If-
here to receive your words.
Because there's so many people like that, and it's just like, you're right, it's not a conversation. You get to hear them tell you stuff. There's definitely an irony to me being skeptical, though, when, according to the story from my mom, my life was saved by, like, paranormal stuff.
Oh, yeah, tell us that.
Because I drowned when I was 18 months old. My parents were on the opposite side of the house. I snuck out. I was a little baby. I snuck out, and I fell in the pool. And mid-argument, my mom said she heard a man's voice, say my name, and she immediately ran
Weird.
and
Interesting.
saw that I was not where I was supposed to be and found me in the backyard and everything.
That
So
was Jesus. Jesus saved you, and Jesus saves us all. This is the Christian podcast all of a sudden.
right.
Well, I don't know, because you're also saying Jesus is a ghost. Therefore, I don't know if anyone's happy about
technically,
that.
Holy Spirit.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
I think it was the ghost of...
What do you got?
I don't have any joke. I was trying to think of some joke. Yeah, I have no idea. No idea. My
Interesting.
mom
That's
doesn't
crazy.
either. She didn't come to any conclusions of what that voice was. She's never tried. She just like, I heard a man's voice say your name, and I immediately...
You're here because of it. So.
Yeah. So there is
worked.
there's an irony of like,
Yeah.
if there is stuff like that's what saved my life, so...
It goes back, and I truly believe that could have happened, but it goes back to like what you were talking about, how the mind perceives things or whatever, and also hearsay from what is now like 26 years ago. It's like, why did you think about your son, And then it was just like, I heard a voice. It's like, all right, the fact is she heard a voice.
Yeah.
You don't know if it was internal or if she actually heard it. Either way, I'm glad you're here. It's just, you always have to question.
Yeah.
I don't know what my point is. Ignore me.
But also, I mean, I think like some things don't have to be fully explained.
That's fair.
In life, there's been a lot of coincidence in my life and little moments here and there that were very important moments, and maybe I don't have a direct explanation, but I'll take it as it is, and that's just the weird part of life.
That's the main point. It is to you what it is to you, and if it, however you process that happened, whether it was a ghost or a voice from beyond or like divine intervention or whatever, or just coincidence, it doesn't really matter. The thing happened as it happened, and
Well, and trying to come up with a rational explanation is jumping to the same conclusions, right?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, with Ouija boards, one could say, well, clearly one person was moving it and they were just lying. But it's like, I'm jumping to that conclusion too. I have zero proof of that.
Because that's what you generally believe.
That's what I believe, and that's what I want to believe too.
But also, if that's fun for them and they're not hurting anyone,
it's totally
Ouija board it
harmless
up.
thing. Yeah.
I think my only thing against Ouija boards is like most of them are manufactured by Milton Bradley. So it's literally like it's as much of a spiritual conduit as Monopoly. Or Parker Brothers, I don't know. So if you get one from like New Orleans in like a voodoo shop or something and it's custom handmade, I'm just like, dope. That thing's probably legit. But if it looks like a Chutes and Ladders, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. I have a lot of theories about ghosts and stuff. Like, I think it's fun to think about what possible things it could be. One that I often think about is like when you have like an old TV with like antennas on the top and channels like kind of fade in and out. So like you'll be watching something and then like you'll get a little bit of a blip of something else. I often think like, well, if there's a bunch of dimensions and stuff, it's possible and it could even be your brain perceiving, like what if you're perceiving something from somewhere else for a quick second. I mean, that's a possibility that you're not even seeing something that's dead. You're seeing something that's alive, but just not here. Boom.
Interesting.
Boom.
When I was younger, I used to think that when my foot fell asleep, that it was like my foot would turn into like the TV static, because that's how it felt like.
Oh,
that's actually really cool.
So
terrifying
I
dreams
would
about
rip
TV
off
static
my
for stuff like
sock
that.
and be like, "Is it? No."
I had dreams about TV static for the longest time. Like, it was always like things were like, it was pulling me into the TV. Like, if ever I had like
That's
a dream
awful.
about a TV,
That's
like I had
so
nightmares for
scary.
most of my childhood. It was rough. But it would literally be like someone I loved or cared about like in the TV, and then it like wasn't them, but it just looked like them, and they were like trying to pull me in, and I would like get sucked in forever. It was neat.
What do you think is the worst nightmare you guys have ever had?
Well, one time, have you guys ever lucid dream?
Yeah.
Where you're in a dream?
Only
Yes.
a couple times.
Okay. So one of the very first times, this is embarrassing. Okay. So one of the very first times that I was like lucid dreaming, I was in the middle of a dream, and I was told like, look for a light switch in your dream and try to switch it on and off. And if the light doesn't react how you think it should in the switch, then you know you're in a lucid dream.
Interesting.
I like how that's the reason you know it's.
Well, you have to pick
have to
one
have that
thing.
control.
If you think about it often during your waking life, then it'll be natural for you to do it in a dream, and that's how you lucid dream.
So somehow I got into this lucid dream. And so I was like, Sarah, this is a dream. Like, stay sleeping. What do we want to do? We can control it. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to make it a sexual dream. Let's do this. Who? Let's go down the line. Who do we want to do this with? Then all of a sudden, a bunch of zombies burst through the door, and I forgot I was in a dream, and then I had to fight the zombies.
Oh, damn.
That's really tough.
And it was so disappointing. And it was so scary. I have a lot of zombie, vampire.
I just wanted to smooch Paul Rudd. Now I gotta fight zombies.
I know.
Haven't you seen Warm Bodies? I'm assuming zombies can be romantic.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
Try to
so.
smooch 'em.
I'd prefer someone alive.
I would always have dreams that like I said, it would be someone I trusted or cared about, and then it like wasn't them. So I remember being a kid and having dreams where like I was like, if you imagine like a giant pegboard where like you put string or fabric on, it would be almost like a loom, but I was being like stitched to it by my mom.
Oh
with
my
like
God.
there were dead animals all around me also
Oh my
being stitched to the
goodness.
board. Yeah, that was par for the course for Dream Damien for a long time.
Holy God.
then I would like dream that like I'd watch a friend of mine get stuck in a trash compactor and like see the whole thing. Yeah, that was...
My goodness.
That was young Damien there.
Damn.
Yeah, nightmares suck.
I think one time I had a dream that like my mom got sentenced to jail.
Oh, dang.
And I like woke up crying. But
That's
that was
sad.
like that, and it was nothing like that intense. That's so intense.
Yeah, stuff like that would happen. But I would also get really like, I don't know. I would get kind of like, especially when I was younger, like really, people say prophetic. I think it's, we read into it a lot, but like dreams that are pretty specific about what would happen the next day, which is interesting. Like I had a dream I was in the car and my mom and my dad was like driving and he turned around and said like, hey, just so you know, I'm not coming home for a while. I've got to stay out for a few more days. And I was like, oh, cool, understand. So then when I was driving with my mom the next day, and my dad was on a business trip at the time. So when I was driving with my mom the next day, she turns around and is like, oh, by the way, your father called. He's going to be on his business trip for another few days. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know. And she'd be like, what? And I'd be like, yeah, oh, no, sorry, that was a dream. And so that's
Damien
not
is
that...
psychic.
No.
He's a psychic alien.
No. But the dream stuff, I think, is, I don't know. If I do believe in anything metaphysical or whatever, it's stuff having to do with dreams. Because it's like, you're going to tell me that 50% of the Earth's population all goes to sleep all at once, and there's no way anything can connect ever. Like you were talking about with wavelengths and,
That's a good point.
Interesting.
And now a quick break from all the spooky talk. As most of us found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy and getting out of it is very hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows you're more than just your credit score and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. I myself have just finished college and it costs definitely more than $10. And something like Upstart would have helped me in times when I did get into debt because of high payments for college classes. And a lot of people have used Upstart.com. In fact, over 300,000 people have used Upstart.com to pay off credit card debt or to reach their financial goals. So free yourself of all the complicated pain and consolidate everything into one monthly payment with Upstart.com. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in the category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/Smosh to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes, so it won't affect your credit. That's upstart.com/Smosh. I didn't have too many, I don't dream that often. I never have.
I heard wearing socks to bed helps you dream more.
I'm never going to do that because I'm not a psycho. I think wearing socks to bed is insane. Why would you do that?
Because your feeties are cold and you want to dream.
There's a blanket. You have a blanket.
What? Do you go to bed naked? Why are you wearing
do
clothes?
sometimes.
I wear shorts.
Yeah.
I wear shorts
so there's a blanket.
I don't know.
There's a
I
blanket.
think I'm so eager to get socks off at the end of the day.
Oh, I hate
I
having
don't
socks
like
on.
socks. That's why I'm
Hate
like,
it.
why would you wear it through the night?
Claudio
Hate it.
wears socks too much. And I tried to tell him he needs to let his
He's going to
feet
get gangrene.
I feel like if I wore socks to bed, I'd end up having a ton of dreams about my feet being stuck in mud or something like that. That's
Hey,
the
at
dreams
least
that I
it's
would
a
get.
dream.
Yeah, at least it's something.
Or you wake up and there's really mud and you're like, where did this come from? Ghosts.
I would have dreams like, I remember a nightmare I had where I was in my house, I walked to my room, and then a doll popped, because I'm terrified of dolls, a doll, like a ventriloquist dummy, peeks its head out from underneath my bed, and it was just like, "Hey, Shayne," and I was
that's
like,
fun.
"Oh," and I go to leave but now my bedroom door is shut, and it's just like it said something like, "You can't get help now, like you're in here with me," and I was like, and then it just ends.
Weird.
But the dreams that always mess me up are the ones that are like kind of harmless. Just like it would be like a Friday, but my dream it's like, oh yeah, tomorrow's Monday, and then I'd wake up and be like, no. God, no!
dreams too. I have those dreams that I'm in a play and I don't know the lines. And I'm like freaking out.
For me, it's always a play that I had been in before where it was like, don't you remember when you were 9 and you were in Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and don't you remember all your lines? You're going on. Like, you should be able to improv it.
Isn't dream talk it's fun to talk about when you're talking about it, but do other people find it interesting? I always thought that. Like when you're like, oh my God, I had the craziest dream last night.
I think they're often crazy for you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody has like really crazy dreams that are interesting, but for the most part,
I think you just have to accept dream logic and then you get on the same wavelength with that person. Like, okay, this is going to be familiar to everybody, even if you haven't had that exact dream. You're going to be like, okay, so I was in this like room, right? But it was also like a treehouse and there was this baby there and I knew it was my father. Like, it didn't speak to me as my father, but I knew that baby was my father.
Yeah.
So like once you accept that kind of mindset, you can understand someone's dream.
My mom and I used to have a dream dictionary.
Really?
So we'd be like, I'd be like, Mom, I had a dream about horses. And she'd be like, looking through the book. And she's like, that means you're going to be rich.
Everything is like, you're going to be rich.
All right.
But it's like, I don't fully believe that.
Sure.
I just think it's just something fun, like my Zodiac.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just look at my Zodiac and I'm like, oh, I am going to be profitable in business. What does that mean?
Nice.
Like,
I am trustworthy, but don't cross me. Wow. Like,
I actually do believe in like the symbolism in dreams because I think it's your brain organizing all your thoughts and stuff. And your brain does interpret things in certain ways. So, and I think it's depending on culture. I think that's why like everything does mean everything. Like, oh, a horse means you're going to die, but also going to be rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because it depends on, like a culture will determine the symbolism of certain things,
Sure.
and if you're raised in that culture, you then see it
For
that
sure.
way.
the language your mind speaks. Like my mind thinks in English, so it would also think in specific cultural terms of like something good is coming. Oh, horses are here, as you know.
Yeah.
I did have one more interesting dream that I just remembered that was like in that same vein. I remember with an ex-girlfriend, I had a dream one time that she was with another guy in a park, and she was like wearing a very specific outfit, and they were like kissing, and I like woke up all jealous and all that stuff. So the next time I saw her, she was like, "Hey, I have to tell you something." An ex-boyfriend reached out, and like we went for a walk together just to talk things out, and he tried to kiss me, and I didn't let him do that. But I just feel like I have to be honest that it happened, and I was just like, "Oh snap! I feel like I kind of sort of saw this. Were you wearing your yellow sweater?"
Stop.
And she just goes like, and like backs away. And
Damien's a
it's-
psychic alien.
No, I'm not. It's dreams.
Hashtag Damien's a psychic alien.
What?
But I remember her like kind of freaking out when I was like, "Yeah, were you in your yellow sweater?" And I was like, "It was fine. I know you
Stop.
didn't." But it was just a weird moment of like, huh.
So I
But that
am
doesn't-
going to be mad at you.
Yeah, I always dream that Sarah's mad at me. You'll find the thing I hid.
Sarah's mad at everyone. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to say about like, have you guys ever had girlfriends wake up mad at you because you cheated on them in the dream? Because it's a pretty common.
Well, this one, she really
Kevin's
did
like,
it.
Yeah, and I think Finnerty too. Like I've had a
happen.
couple of those dreams, but I would say I had a dream where Claudio forgot my birthday, and boy was I angry when I woke up.
Claudio! What? Sarah!
Sarah, why?
100%.
Sarah Wario! For the past week, Damien and I can now, we just keep saying,
Sarah Weedle. Sarah Wario.
Sarah Wario!
Sarah Wario.
That's great. Oh my God.
I was actually legitimately mad at him for a bit.
I
believe
don't
that.
get dreams where I get angry.
But I didn't, like, I'm not the type of person that, like, has a dream that, like, he cheated on me, and then I'm like, you cheated on me, like, because my mom and dad have been through that.
Oh, no.
And my dad's like, Claudia, have you ever experienced? But for some reason, him not saying happy birthday to me really, like, hurt me.
When's your birthday, just so I know?
It's in February
Okay, I forget.
Okay, yeah.
16th? I don't know.
7th.
Oh.
We'll make sure to forget.
I'll say it on the 16th.
To ruin your birthday.
I did have an ex-boyfriend one time, didn't say happy birthday to me until like 7 p.m.
Oh, no.
the day of my birthday.
That's off topic, but that's fine for the most part.
Oh, buddy.
Unless it's
Full boyfriend?
Unless it's a boyfriend or girlfriend. Like,
it was a boyfriend. It was her boyfriend.
Okay, but I'm saying like in general, like if it's just a friend, how bad is it if you're like
Friend is fine. I think
Anytime,
boyfriend,
anytime.
girlfriend.
I would like you to text me at 9 a.m. on my birthday. Show me that you care, Shayne. Show me.
remember?
But
Oh, you'll probably be in the office. I'll see you.
I'm not coming in on my birthday.
That's true.
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
when's your birthday?
The 23rd of November.
Yeah, it's not
Oh,
far
1
from
month
now.
away from Matt Rob's.
Oh, snap.
Oh, hey.
Matt Robb has a birthday?
Matt Robb was born?
I thought he
Barely.
just
emerged.
appeared.
Yeah, emerged from the earth.
There's
fully
like
grown.
There's like some that like 90s style like purple and green painting you always saw on the side of cups. He just walked out of one day and it's just like, yes, I'm the 80s 90s boy. Let's wrestle.
No, he just walked out of a TV playing Nickelodeon as a full man.
God.
Yikes. It was like Double Dare, the person.
Yeah, that is him. What other things scare us? Like, is there anything, like, because we talked about ghosts, like
I love clowns. Just saying.
you actually do love clowns, and you have the scariest story about a clown
Yeah.
that is not scary
By which
to
you mean adorable. So
What?
like, so here's my thought on clowns, real quick. They're a creature, not a person. They're a creature that exists.
I don't understand the point of clowns. I really
they
don't
exist
get it.
entirely to make you laugh, but the cultural zeitgeist is such that they are scary and that we don't like them.
Well,
so their
did that
entire
start
purpose
with
is
like an actual clown that like murdered?
look, ignoring John
Children?
Wayne Gacy, ignoring Pennywise, all the other ones. Most clowns I've met haven't tried to kill me.
I feel like most clowns are pointless. That's my opinion on it.
My dream, and I don't know if this will ever happen, but real clowns and real mimes coming on an episode of Try Not to Laugh.
I would love that.
That is my
That's pretty
freaking
dope.
dream.
One time I saw a mime at Starbucks, and he had a Bluetooth earpiece in his ear, and I was like, you're not allowed to use that. He was fully made up costume mime, but he had a Bluetooth in, and I was like, literally, you can
This is an oxymoron.
You're allowed to FaceTime and like mime out what's going on in your life. You are not allowed to use a Bluetooth. That's
Off-duty
just your
mime.
voice.
Mimes are even less scary.
Insane. Well,
Yeah,
mimes
I
aren't
agree.
supposed to be
Like-
scary.
You can't talk. Let's see if you can scream, and then you fight them.
Anyway, your clown
They haven't
story.
made a
Clown
scary
story.
movie about mimes, huh?
You fought a mime. You almost fought a mime.
I did almost fight a mime in the video recently.
In the doll room.
Where I faced my fear of dolls. They decided to put me in a hell box filled with creepy dolls, and there was a professional mime in a scarecrow outfit, and he slowly inched his way towards me for 3 minutes. And yeah, I threatened to fight him, and then as soon as he grabbed me, I gave up.
Because he put you in an invisible box. and then
Yeah,
you're
he
just-
put me in an invisible box, and I was screwed. He lassoed me, and I was like, no!
So spooky clown story. I remember when I was like a teenager, I went up to our attic one time. It was kind of hard to get to the light right off the bat, so I just had to grab something real quick near the entrance. And when I get up there, I hear from the other side this like music box style, like twinkly little music, and there's this clown doll that has like the crosses for eyes kind of deal, and it's playing that music, and it's just kind of it rotates its head as it does it.
Absolutely
and it's like
no.
so it's like a porcelain clown doll that also has like that aspect to it,
And
it's
a
just chilling
demon
there.
inside.
And most people would have freaked out, and my thought was sick, free clown doll.
And it was in the middle of the attic, and it started playing on its own.
Yeah, and it was, but it wasn't full on playing. It was playing like every now and then because it was sort of like, you know, when it runs out of juice, but it's still going a little
Damn
bit.
it!
So I grabbed it and I brought it down to my room, and I'm like, this is dope, and it didn't.
And then
kill
you
me.
had nightmares.
No, that's when they stopped the clown
I
battle.
think maybe Damien's psychic power comes from him befriending ghosts.
There we go.
Like ghosts give signs,
I'm not
and
a psychic.
Damien's just like, oh yeah, this is cool, and they're like, thank God. Like everyone gets scared when we yell or leave clown dolls for them. We're just trying to make friends.
Thank you. Disclaimer, 2 disclaimers. One, I think that was a gift to my sister from a boyfriend like 8 years prior, so it was just chilling up there. Other disclaimer, I'm not a psychic. I think if anyone tells you they're a psychic, they're full of crap. There are fun compilations online called Damien is a Psychic. They are fun to watch, but they are...
You are an alien, then.
I am
But
an
this
alien,
is-
but here's my real fear though. I've gotten like Instagram DMs from people who are just like, "Hey,
you
I
tell
think
me?
I'm like you, and I want to.
No.
I want to. I don't know where to start. Can you tell me how to control what we have?" And I'm like, "Nope. That's dangerous as hell. If someone thinks I have the answers to their psychic power, holy crap, no." So that's my fear. That's why I put out this disclaimer.
So what are the winning lottery numbers?
This sounds like if someone was a psychic alien,
is what you would
they would
say.
say.
I'm gonna
They'd
fight
be
you.
like, please, I'm not.
This
like,
is
fight you,
what
Shayne.
they would
like,
say.
but we need to stress that Damien is not
Thank you.
an alien.
Don't do
He's
me.
not
He is not.
an alien.
I don't have
He's not.
the answers to.
I actually do have a question. So this psychic thing,
God damn it.
it's been going on for a long time. This is the first I've ever heard of it.
Oh.
Like, people
Yeah, there's
really-
compilations online of
They've got a
Damien
fair
being
amount of
psychic.
views.
So if I was a psychic, the thing I would definitely say is like, hey, you understand the power of it, so you'd want to say you weren't.
The thing, if I were a psychic, I wouldn't bring it up. I'm bringing it up saying, hey, don't mention it, please. Also, like, our videos are edited. Maybe they just leave in the fun times when I say, I bet we'll roll a this number, and they edit out the others. Like, I don't know.
Last question: how many times has it happened, like this psychic stuff?
It's not psychic stuff.
This non-psychic stuff.
It's
Damien's an alien.
There are 4 compilation videos that I know of.
That seems like a lot.
That's a lot of compilations. None
You
of us
seem
have
like a lot
had
of compilations.
None of us have had compilations. I have screaming compilations.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
I don't have any
Are you a
compilations.
banshee? Because banshees are known for their screams.
You get DMs of people asking if you're psychic. I get DMs just being like, "You suck."
Shut up.
Hey, you little dork. I'm going to beat you up. I'm like, no, don't beat me up.
You're like, guys, I have to accept this DM. Hey, sorry, please do not beat me up.
My dad keeps making Instagram accounts. It sucks. You little dork. I'm like, no, stop it, Dad. Stop making Instagram accounts.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, but no, Damien's not. He's not psychic.
He's not psychic.
I hate you a lot.
God.
Clowns are dope. Why doesn't anyone think clowns are dope?
I just don't get them. I don't get clowns.
I think they're it used to be a cool thing. Now maybe not.
What's up?
It feels like it's old school.
It's old school.
It's Victorian.
Like my grandma used to collect like clown
Victorians probably
like,
Victorian era people probably pissed their pants at clowns. They're like,
well,
oh my
they were,
God.
like, the stand-up.
Have you
in
seen?
self-defense?
He did this thing where he tripped. What? He did what? He tripped. He had big shoes on. So he tripped because they were too big.
Get this.
They're too
Pie sitting right there.
Oh my God, I would have never thought of that. Why was there a pie on the ground? I don't know. He had
His
big shoes on.
flower?
And oh, get this. He had tears, like fake tears. Oh my God, like he was sad? Yeah, like he was sad. That's hilarious.
Did he have a ridiculous Italian name? Pagliacci.
Oh my God, that's so
The sad
funny.
crying clown.
Yeah, anyways, it was great. So what's up with you? Well, my whole family died of scarlet fever. That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear
Oh
that.
my God.
You know what you could use? A little visit for Pagliacci. But doctor, I am scarlet fever. And that's how you botch that
Dang
fable.
it. Oh, Christ.
The two people in the audience are going to get that joke, but I'm making that for you.
I can say some stuff that I'm scared of.
Okay.
You know what? This is a fear I've not talked about, I don't think.
Hurting people.
One of which is real. If I ever,
Everyone has that fear, Shayne.
I know, but like it's the worst. I would rather get hurt. I'd rather
Hurt them emotionally?
I'd rather die than like accidentally severely hurt someone. I couldn't live with it.
You just can't live like that.
But like, what about ghosts?
Yeah, but like, what about ghosts? So when I was young, actually, one of my biggest fears, and it was a completely irrational fear because I lived in Arizona. One of my biggest fears was twisters, tornadoes.
Oh, yeah.
I watched
The hot
Twister.
spot.
I watched Twister, and it ruined my life. And so anytime there was a slight storm, I'm talking like a sprinkle of rain, I'd be like, "Is that a Twister? Do we need to get? Do we don't have a basement?"
They are terrifying.
The bathtub.
They're really scary.
I've never.
I lived in
but
North
that's the dumb
Dakota,
thing.
and we would have like mini emergencies
We had 'em in
where we had
Georgia
to
all the
get
time.
Yeah.
I've never experienced one. Well, so one time leaving the Denver airport, not a serious one, but a tornado formed.
Yeah, a lot of
little
wind.
Bit. But it was just like, it was a harmless tornado. I'm talking like
Yeah.
a tornado.
That's
Big ones
actually
scare the
really
crap
That
scary.
scares it because it's just like, oh my God, you just can't do
I
anything
think
about
weather
it.
events like that in general are super scary.
See,
Because
that's my
even we were
biggest
just
thing.
talking before the podcast, like about we had a mini earthquake last night, and it's like freaking scary every
It's
time.
really scary.
Earthquakes don't scare me for some reason. They should.
They scare me.
This was the first one that scared me.
Really?
Really?
Because, I mean, a couple of months ago when we had that
We had that
series of
big
them,
one, yeah.
Mark and I
July.
were in a restaurant and, like, everybody's fleeing. And the scary thing about that is, like, people running and stamping over each other.
Yeah.
While Mark and I are just at the table being like, yeah, this is going to pass. The lights above us are swinging.
I was seeing a
But-
movie, yeah, and I didn't get up. Everybody else did.
I was
I'm
in a
not
mall.
missing this.
Yeah, so ours was right by the mall. Last night, it was not the biggest magnitude we've experienced in recent years, but it was way closer than it usually is. And it's the first time I've ever been like, oh, got it, earthquakes. Because usually it's just like jostling you around. But this was the first one where like both my roommate and I checked to see if a car had crashed into our building.
That's what we
'Cause it
thought
was
happened too.
yeah.
Because it literally was like one hit. It was like boom.
It was literally
And it was
like,
like-
a boom. It was like, whoa.
Guys, I slept like a baby last
Big
night.
ol' baby.
And honestly, I think maybe I woke up and then that earthquake rocked me back to sleep.
You must have been an easy
I-
baby to deal with, to be like, good night. That's all it takes.
Just body slam me into the bed. I'm just I'm passed out.
No, not how you handle children.
I've slept through almost all the earthquakes. Like there was the one a couple months ago where I was in a movie and the earthquakes started happening. Everyone started to get up, and I was just like, no, this is a good
Yeah.
part. What movie was it? It was like I think it was a Marvel movie, and I was like, I'm not getting up out of. No, I got to watch this. I got to stay for this.
Had to have been Endgame, right?
I think it might have been Endgame because I was like, no way am I leaving.
Yeah.
Or no, it was Spider-Man.
Oh,
And it was during
yeah, it
it
was
was during like
Spider-Man.
the epic final battle that I was like, I'm staying, and
Yeah.
it made it better. And it actually,
Yeah.
ironically, the last earthquake that I'd felt previous to that was when I was seeing Dark Knight forever
Interesting.
ago, and an earthquake happened. They've happened in movie theaters, weirdly.
I was watching a play one time at USC, and it it was like this classic tale of like Herculean heroes and all that stuff. So we were on these bleachers to watch it, right? And it was this point where Hercules was like coming out to the audience and was like, and I'm gonna go down into the underworld and bring her back from Hades. And like it was this big monologue, and the bleachers start to rock. And at first I'm like, wow, they put in a hydraulic system for Hercules' booming voice or something. This is really cool. And then later everyone's like, no, dumbass, that was an earthquake.
Oh no!
And I was like,
Free
I'm from
practical
Georgia. I don't know what
effects.
that is. Yeah.
Another thing, I've been wanting to tell this story for a while because I don't
Please
think I
do.
brought it up here. Another thing that sometimes I love animals, but sometimes they scare me because I think all animals are smarter than we think.
Oh, for
And
sure.
there's also a segment I kind of want to start doing is stuff I've learned. And so this is Shayne's learning time, or we'll figure out a better title. Octopus are
So smart.
geniuses,
So
right?
smart.
And we really underestimate it. And there's this story I heard a couple years ago that it haunts me to this day because I'm just like, this is how smart stuff is. So it was in an aquarium in Dallas, I believe, and there was a octopus tank, and across the way, like on the other side of the building, was a tank that had like smaller sharks in it, like probably like small nurse sharks or whatever. After every morning they would come in, there was often a missing shark from that tank. Like sharks were slowly disappearing, and they're just like, I don't know what's going on. There's nothing in this tank that can eat them. So one night, someone comes in the middle of the night to like, for some reason they were checking on something or whatever, and they found the octopus on the floor crawling back to its tank from the shark tank. And that means that it was smart enough to learn the schedule of the workers, to know that if it was caught, it would get in trouble, to know that it's got to wait for people to leave, to crawl out of its tank, go across the way to go eat stuff, and then knowing it had to go back to its own tank.
Ocean stuff actually scares the crap.
How
It
would
really does,
know?
yeah.
How would it even know the
They are
idea
so
of getting
smart.
in
There's
trouble?
There's a video of people. They saved this octopus. It was beached. They saved it. They put it back in the ocean. The next day, they came back to that same spot. The octopus was there. There's video of this. It swims up to the person, grabs their leg
hugs
very
them.
gently, like kind of basically hugs them, and then swims away. That stuff's out. And like crows are known to hold grudges. There was an experiment
Crows give
where,
gifts?
and for months they were literally like, yeah, they give gifts.
Well, cats give gifts too,
But
but not
it's-
the ones you want.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
That's actually spooky.
There's a story of a lady who would there was like a bunch of crows on her balcony, so she started like feeding them a little bit, and then after a while she started to notice what looked to her like garbage on the balcony randomly, but it was always shiny. So after she would like start feeding these crows, they would go off to find something shiny and bring it back and be like, we got you something. And this literally went on for like years.
Wow.
It'd be like a bead or like a button from a coat, like an interesting coin. Like they're just like, yeah, people like shiny stuff.
Yeah. That stuff scares me because of how awful humans are to all animals.
Animals,
But I'm
yeah.
like, man, if animals ever decide to turn on us,
Uprising.
like
That's
they
a
have,
Simpsons
they have
episode.
good reason.
The
They have-
dolphin uprising.
Really?
Yeah. It's Treehouse of Horror.
Dude, I that stuff scares me. And chimpanzees, like, they're so smart.
I saw one skateboard the other day. It was. I'm not gonna. I just saw
Really?
it was on.
I can't
think,
even
a TikTok.
skateboard, so that's impressive.
Ocean stuff is spooky for me. Like it's what's lurking in the abyss and all that undiscovered stuff, and you don't know what could be down there because it's so real, but it's still so foreign to us. And the fact that like Humboldt squids, like I think when we were roommates, I showed you this video of like
Yeah.
a bunch of Humboldt squids, but it was in pitch blackness, and you just see a giant squid pop in
Well,
every
'cause
now and then.
they put a camera on a squid,
yeah.
so it showed them communicating with each other, which is they open up their tentacles and stuff, and it's really weird.
Scares the
it's
hell out of
really
Yeah, I think
weird.
I saw a video where an octus like got out of a jar.
I've seen
itself. Like it was like a
It
pickle
twists
jar.
the
Yeah,
thing
it
from the
twists-
bottom.
Yeah,
It understands twists.
Bro, that stuff is so crazy.
it's so crazy.
They're little Cthulhus.
Yep.
They're just
Cuddly
little
hoo-hoos.
Cthulhus. Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping this up here.
man.
A thing we haven't talked about is, guys, we are very close to 25 million subscribers
Yes!
on the Smosh channel.
On
That's
Smosh
that's very
yeah.
not scary. That's very not spooky. It's very cool. But I am currently I'm taking a quick break for this podcast. I'm taking a quick break for this podcast, but when we were 200,000 subscribers away from 25 million, I started doing push-ups.
Yes.
And I am not stopping until we hit 25 million.
Exactly.
I am trying to do over 200,000 push-ups before we reach 25 million subscribers. And
Your arms are disgusting.
My arms are. I'm turning to dust.
You're like
an
Popeye,
octopus
except
now.
up.
I'm turning
up
into an
top.
octopus. Please save me. Please help us get to 25 million. Tell your family to subscribe.
Yes.
Get everyone to subscribe. In your dreams, make sure to communicate that we need to hit 25 million
Tell the
subscribers.
ghosts to subscribe.
Do nice things for crows so that crows will start
Subscribe to
subscribing.
Smosh.
We need to grow our crow audience. We need to hit 25 million.
Yeah, and we're trying to do it before the end of the month.
Yeah.
Because we have some super secret project that we want to announce, and it's so freaking exciting.
I keep
Yeah.
almost spilling the beans, and I don't want to.
You
So
cannot.
please,
We want to tell you guys so bad because it's crazy.
It's next
absolutely
level.
crazy.
It's
Here's the
actually
thing.
like for real.
It's crazy like a crow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not really.
And you
a hit.
think Damien being a psychic alien is crazy? Just
damn it.
just wait.
yeah,
Just
Damien,
buckle
when
up.
do you think we'll hit 25 million?
Oh,
Yeah,
gee
Damien, tell
whiz.
what
Say
date?
it.
What
Say the
date
date.
do you think we're gonna hit 25
September
million?
19th.
No, it's we're in October.
I said
October.
September. It's a made
Just
up
give
month.
us a date. Give us a date, and then if you guys can make it happen, make it
don't
your
Yes,
psychic
yeah,
ability
just
real.
give us a
I don't-
date.
I'm very bummed that this is the thing.
October 20th.
October 29th is what I was going to say.
Okay,
Okay,
October
October
29th.
29th?
I don't know.
What?
October 29th, we're going to hit 25 million subscribers on Smosh.
Boom. We're all predicting it. Maybe we're all psychic.
Maybe.
Just what you wait and see. Wow.
This is so exciting. But for real, like, I don't know if we've hyped it anywhere. Like, it's actually a legitimate announcement that we're gonna make.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like, oh look, Shayne has like a hat. Like, it's not any of that.
It's a very real.
It's a very real
thing.
big moment.
For what it's
Smosh.
worth, Shayne does have a hat.
Yeah, and if we don't hit 25 million subscribers in that time, we're scrapping it. We're not doing it at all. We're never doing it again. In fact, you know what? I'm quitting.
If we don't hit 25 million.
A friend of mine last, like a couple weeks ago, like tweeted out like, "All right, guys, if this gets 10,000 likes, I'm making a TikTok." Clearly planning to make a TikTok, and then it got nowhere near that, and he just had to sort of tweet like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess no TikTok." And then like a week later, it finally hit it, and he's like, "All right, guys, here it is." But it was just that moment of
no.
like, do you want to tie an announcement to a conditional?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So please subscribe. All right, guys. Well, we're wrapping things up here. The full audio comes out on Wednesdays, as well as the highlight clip on the SmoshCast YouTube channel, and the full video comes out on Fridays. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to like it. Be sure to hit that notification bell. Be sure to rate this podcast 5 stars. It's very important. It helps us keep this thing rolling.
It is 2005. Oh, I thought you meant for YouTube. I was like, wow. The 5 stars.
No, on
I forgot
the,
that was a thing.
Apple and the like
Got it.
Spotify
Yeah.
and the like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You learned something.
I did. That I'm a big old dummy.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you
Bye,
later.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Arrivederci.
Saddle wow.
You just like mumble the middle part.
Arrivederci.